And not one person took a shot at you.
All righty.
Yeah, I do.
Good morning. We're streaming now. We're live streaming. So this is the Christian County Health Department Board of Trustees regular meeting for Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. I am the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Ken Spangler. It is 8:33, and so I will call the meeting to order for the business of the agenda. To my right, by the way, is our treasurer, Tanya Howard. On her right, my extreme right, it is Kimberly Foster, our vice chairman. And on my left is our secretary, Kathy Adams, and Steve Stewart, who I'm going to be calling our assistant secretary because it seems like that's a duty that needs to be filled. And yeah, I looked in our bylaws and I can just appoint you as an assistant secretary, so it's official now.
Whenever.
Whether you like it or not. So you got to have a role.
Just like home.
All righty. I note that we have no guests today, and so obviously there's no opportunity for public comment. But I do want to state for the people who are watching on this that that our public comment is a time when the board listens to you. There's a time limit of a total of 20 minutes for public comment, and scheduled speakers, if you contact our interim administrator or any of the board members prior to the meeting, you will be put on the agenda in order to speak. There are some limitations on that, but the administrator or the board member can give you what those limitations are. Even if people just show up in time to observe and they wish to speak, they may sign in. And at sign in, they can state that they would like to speak to the Board of Trustees. They will be allowed if time allows, if time permits. And but if the time doesn't permit, we can move them to a future meeting. So anyway, that is our public comment session. We don't have any today, so I'm going to move on to the secretary report.
Okay. So I distributed all of the minutes, and as long as there has not been any, we'll start with May 23rd.
Yeah, I move that we accept that as published.
I sent out everything that I took, so, you all want to have that too.
And then June 18th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 from June 18th, we have closed as well. There's a special closed session on June 19th.
No, I have no corrections.
And the appeal hearing on July 1st. We have an emergency session on July 1st.
And now on July 1st, I do have one comment.
Okay.
And
on which one? On the
July
emergency or on the appeal hearing one?
July 1st? This is July 1st, not July 8th.
Yeah, we had 2. July 1st. We had the appeal hearing minutes.
Oh yes,
and
that's
then we had
correct.
the closed session.
Yeah, this was the closed session.
Okay.
And so I will submit that to you guys in writing here. I've got a copy, and so we don't have to disclose closed business. It is highlighted as a motion by Kathy Adams. I felt that there needed to be additional wording.
Got it. Okay.
Now I will say Steve very accurately described later on that the document completed at that time was our part of our minutes, but I don't want that to leave that statement open-ended. And I know that I specifically stated at that meeting that we were doing it for that reason. So I know that sounds completely cryptic to somebody who's not looking at this, but it is closed business, so until it is resolved, it is,
Okay,
so I would accept the
all of
minutes
them,
as amended.
perfect.
I'll second.
And then lastly, you're to July
July
8th,
8th.
there's a misspelling.
Okay,
On the special closed session, down at the very bottom, oversight is misspelled. It's S-I-G-H-T, not
right.
S-I-T-E. That's
Sounds like
it.
something I did.
That's all right.
Yeah, I guess it would be, S-I-T-H-T.
Yeah.
I'm used to job site or something like that.
So
With that
I
correction.
would move that we approve the minutes exactly as approved at this meeting, as
Second.
amended.
Yeah.
Second by Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so the minutes, we have cleaned our docket for minutes except for, was there a closed session on the 16th?
That
Of
was our first.
April.
That was our first day, and I think, I don't know if we had one. I think we did, but we had nothing on that day. And I don't know if we had a recording.
We did not.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't think
I
we did.
wasn't sure if we had one.
Okay, well, I'm gonna look at my notes here and just see if I put in anything for April 16th.
I think we did, we had two things, I'm thinking back, I think we had two things, and they were for performance evaluations.
Oh, I actually have notes on them.
Perfect, okay.
I
Was it-
can give that to you.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it
Two
was,
things?
two, performance evaluations, and
Whoa.
that's it.
Okay,
I mean, I've got pretty sketchy notes, but it says
Perfect.
exactly what we did.
okay.
Okay, I'll get that to you, Kathy. And so that wraps up, I will get that information to our secretary prior to our next meeting, regarding the closed session on April 16th. So, anything else from our secretary?
No, that's all.
All righty, well, thank you very much. Good job, everybody. It was a joint effort getting these minutes together because of family emergencies within the board, and it got done. So, excellent. Now we're on to our treasurer report.
All right, so we are almost completely caught up on all of our billing of the contracts. There are two contracts, core and chip. They will be updated next month. Emily has worked really, really hard on catching us up on all these. She did run into some issues with the theft billing, but funds were reallocated and resubmitted and with the supporting documents, and then she had to resubmit May after that. Our MCH billing, we are currently on probation for that because due to the lack of spending the funds. We do have until September to complete this, and she is in contact with the supervisor to try to get that resolved.
Yeah, I saw her table of
Mhm.
reports on billing,
Yeah,
and I thought it was quite
I told.
an improvement.
Yeah. And then WIC had not been billed since the beginning of the year. We can go back and back bill. They think that we have been under billing, so we can improve that if we need to. We'll let April fill us in on the rest of that.
Okay.
And when she gets back, there are some things that I want to look into. Our vehicle expenses did double this last month. That does not include gas. So I want to look into why those doubled. our janitorial services, that seems a little excessive, so I wanna look into those charges as well. Our insurance expense, we have already gone over budget for this year. I'm assuming it's due to inflation, but once again, I wanna look into that. And then we have a $5 miscellaneous expense that I'm hoping we can recategorize that somewhere and not have it in a miscellaneous.
I know my auto insurance went up
Yeah,
substantially.
But now, did they go up without notice? Would it be something that would not be communicated?
yeah,
Because we have a budget we live under.
I'd say it depends on the company. I mean, I didn't get a notice in the mail or anything like that. My agent just called me and said, well, your insurance went up.
Mhm. Well, you did get noticed though.
Do you
Yeah.
remember when it was that we had a difficult time with the insurance and getting quotes on that? Or it was stated that we did, and we went ahead and it was significantly more. I don't know when that when it was supposed to start.
yeah.
Now, our insurance, are we talking about property insurance or talking about health insurance? Or both?
Auto,
This is under our occupancy and building expenses. So,
that's what that was what we,
Okay,
I remember it.
okay, well,
Seems
that'll
like
take
it's
a
been a
little.
while ago, but I don't know if there was a deadline. Maybe it was supposed to
Right.
start in April, May.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to more research on that
Yeah,
because
as
that's
soon as
gotta
she-
be explained.
yeah, as soon as she comes back, those are the things we're
Yeah,
gonna dig
you're-
into.
You're developing quite a list of things that we need to adjust in the budget
Yes.
if these are all
Yes,
inflationary changes.
right.
Okay, all right. I had a question.
Yes,
I noticed that we paid a bill to Capital One. Do we have a Capital One credit card or something?
not anymore.
Okay, but there was one, okay,
There was one.
all right.
We have reduced all of our cards down to one, so there were multiple cards. So we will be writing checks for everything. Hopefully, that will reduce all the trails that we have to go through.
Good, okay. So what is the card that we currently have?
It is our debit card. Through
Oh, it's a
Ozark.
debit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so no credit card,
Okay.
just the debit card.
Okay.
My understanding was a lot of times they have to book rooms
Yes.
and they have to have a card to do that.
You can use a debit?
Well, that.
To reserve the room.
That's the
So,
reason for that second account.
Okay.
so reserving rooms and, when they're traveling, we'll have that debit card for them. And then we only have one account, one payment that doesn't accept checks, and that's Adobe. Other than that, we can pay everything with checks and, like I said, less trails to navigate through.
Yeah, I've always, I like checks and a lot of places don't.
Yes.
Like them, but they've gotten a check reader that they'll just put it through just like my credit card
Mhm.
and then hand me back the check, so I don't see the issue
Right,
with that.
Well, doing it over the phone though, and there's not much in that account, correct?
there won't be, no, it'll be at a minimum to reduce the fraud, since the debit card does not have fraud protection, so we will keep it at a minimum. And just for, reserving hotel rooms and paying for our employees to go to the meetings.
Okay, all right. That was my only major question there. Other than that, I would accept a motion to receive the financials as published.
I'll make a motion to receive the financials as published.
Kathy,
Second.
and Steve, okay. All in favor of accepting the financials? Okay, thank you. Do you have any more comments for us? I don't want to move too quickly through your time. The next thing on our agenda, and again, I'm explaining some things to the people back home because of the, they don't understand our agenda necessarily the way that, just as it's printed. So in these general reports that we're having here, as a point of information, each month the board receives published reports from each of the programs of the health department, and we receive them about 5 days prior to the meeting. In most cases, these reports are completely crystal clear and they don't warrant additional discussion. That's why sometimes we'll just move right through them. If, however, any of the trustees has a question or a comment, it will be addressed at the time of the report. Starting in August, we're going to also invite each of the programs to come in on a rotational basis to give us a presentation of what their program does, because I think the trustees who have not been here for a long time, as well as those who are watching us on video, need to understand what the nursing program is and what they do. I mean, let me just, well, I'll get to that later on, but you know, it's also an opportunity for us to see our talented staff who are here serving the community. So the first of these is going to be the nursing program, Callie, just to make sure they get that message. And what they can do is either a verbal report or something like a PowerPoint to give an overview of what the nurses are responsible for here. I do want to thank each of the supervisors, though, for the reports we received. Without exception, I had very few questions on them.
Myself, I'd rather do it that way than take up time in a meeting.
Absolutely.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Then if you have questions, just call.
I'm also going to ask that it be communicated to each of these people submitting a report that they rename their reports. The reports have had variable names. Some of them, one of them is called 5 Board Report, and 3 of them are called June Board Report. That is very difficult for any of us who keeps a file of these things to go back and look for. But it's also even more difficult for our custodian of records to pull something out if it's not properly named. So I would like them to name them as the program name, report, and then put the month and year on the file name. That way it can be communicated, I think, pretty clearly. So the only one who had, actually, I looked at the reports that we got this month, and marketing said, marketing report, June 2024. I thought, that's the way we should do, that I can file that. So, moving on. The nursing report. Anybody have any questions on that? No? Okay. I will comment again that it's very informative, and I do want the people at home to know that the nurses not only administer vaccines, but they also follow and track other communicable diseases of interest to not only the trustees, but also of interest to the community, such as tuberculosis and several foodborne diseases. So we will get a better presentation of that next month. But we will receive their report as published. Second is environmental. Any questions on the environmental report?
Is everybody okay with what I worked out with the Pullmans?
Correct, yes.
Yes.
I believe we approved that at the last meeting.
he called back with some questions, he couldn't find my email, and, by the way, Kelly, did, I guess probably Emily shared this drawing with environmental. Well, you are in environmental now, aren't you?
No, we need to readdress that
Oh, okay.
today, and we will.
But anyway, I'll get you a copy of that. That's basically what we're gonna do out there, so Megan will have an idea.
Looks good.
Years of practice.
Just needs to be something that's on file here for future reference, like any other report. I did have a question.
Okay.
I noticed that we have the environmental staff schedule in the report. Very informative, but do we need it?
I don't think so.
Okay, so for future reference, we can communicate to Megan that we don't need to get their full schedule for the month. And we will bring this up a little later, but we received notice that there will be a change in the inspection requirements by state statute for food service businesses that will increase the demand on our, and so I'm going to, in new business, we'll talk about hiring for that area. As you know, right now, we have just had one of our environmental specialists depart. She went to Iowa, and other than the cold weather there, she's got family. And so we're down to 2 environmental specialists right now. All right, we will receive that report as well with the modification that it does not need to include the schedule. The next one called, it's titled clerical, but I would like that changed also to the CCHD activity report. Again, filing purposes. Because it doesn't really just show clerical stuff, it shows a lot of activities here. And this shows some of our key indicators of the volume of our services that are rendered here at the health department. Any comments? Questions? Again, good report. Yeah, it shows what we're doing. Contracts and billings. Oh my goodness. This one was the report that I thought was so good. It really lays out exactly what we've got. And for you at home, many of the services that are offered here at the health department are funded through contracts with the Department of Health and Senior Services, or CDC, or the Department of Health and Senior Services of Missouri. I'm sorry, Health and Human Services, the federal government. And keeping the billing up to date is essential because we have to expend funds in order to be reimbursed. And if this is an ongoing process, we actually keep ahead of the bill collector. If it gets behind, as it has been at times, the cash flow here is interfered with. So thank you, Emily, if you're watching. Are there any questions about this report? Nobody's got any questions. Moving on. Marketing report. Connor Wilson gave this. I have no questions.
We need to get with him again. We have 2 areas that still need to be changed on our website.
Mm-hmm.
So
Name those, please.
They are on the home page under the board meetings at the very bottom.
Mhm.
It still says that we meet on the third Tuesday of every month,
Okay,
and that's just on our basic home page,
uh-huh,
all the way at the bottom. And then the other one is under contact us, and then you go under the volunteer,
uh-huh,
and it says to please send completed signed digital applications to Karen Peak.
okay,
So those are the only two things that I've noticed that need updated on our webpage
very
still.
good. Okay, thank you.
Sort of along those lines, the day I was here looking at the roof with Rick, I came in and talked to Emily, and we were looking at the outside board, and I told her that would be the place to put the agenda, to post the agendas and clear out a bunch of the stuff that don't need to be there.
By the way, did anybody notice, is it there?
I was
Yes.
running late.
Yes.
Yeah, we looked on
Okay.
our way in, it is there.
We noticed that the
Yeah.
door was changed too, so that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, kudos to our staff. Very good. Let me see here. Oh, I did want to make a comment. We're going to address later on here the CureMD app. It really is not up to speed. There's a lot of stuff it could be doing for us, and so looks like Callie needs an extra pen.
I know, and I just bought this one.
Here's a better one.
I like that one.
Good catch.
Thank you.
And that was on video.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the nurses actually has some skill with apps like this. And so we'll be addressing if it's a part-time nurse who is offered to work extra hours in order to bring that thing up to speed. I granted, we've got Connor, but Connor, we keep throwing a lot of things his way. And if she has experience on this, we'll address that here in our new business. Let me see here. WIC. Any questions, concerns with WIC? Steve looks like he's wondering.
Oh, I'm looking at the agenda.
Okay,
No, go ahead.
all righty then. There are no questions. The last one is the Public Health Emergency Preparedness report. Callie, I noticed that you are one of the contributors to that. Can you give us just a real quick, what does PHEP do?
So if an emergency happens, we are somebody that they can call on. So if they need a place to set up, if they need resources, immunizations, we can kind of help with what we have out in the community. And then we work over with the emergency management in the courthouse, Phil and Tower. We work with them as well.
Okay, all righty. Yeah, I would love to sit down with Phil and
He's
just
great.
find out what all the emergency management director and does he have a lot of staff?
He has an assistant, I think.
Yeah, they're really great down there. They're in the courthouse basement, so
Oh,
if you're
good.
ever over there, I'm sure he'd love.
Okay,
Oh, yes, he would.
I'll drop
Yeah.
by and talk with him. Actually, I'll make an appointment.
Yeah, yeah.
The courthouse or the judicial center?
Judicial.
Okay.
Yeah, the one where you go in trouble. That one.
Not the historic courthouse.
Yeah, I was thinking that's where the plan was, to move emergency management.
They're downstairs with the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Yes.
The basement at the courthouse is not very fancy digs.
I feel like they've updated it a little bit.
At the
Look
historic,
fancy.
at the historic
Oh,
courthouse.
historic. Oh, I haven't gone down there. I've
It's
only
like
gone
going up on their roof.
spiders and snakes.
I like spiders and snakes. Well, another thing for Fayetteville, when we had the big outage statewide with the electronics, they send us emails up at the state level to see what our response is, if we can respond immediately, if we can respond in 15 minutes. So I don't know if it's just in case an emergency breaks out, what our response level is, but they send us that as well, so we respond and do
Okay.
our activities.
See, that's where I don't see the division between PHEP and emergency management, but I can be educated, so. Let me see here. Okay, that is everything on our reports. I would love a motion to accept all the reports as published with,
Make the motion to accept the reports as published.
I'll
Okay.
second.
thank you very much. All in favor? Aye. Sorry, I didn't ask for discussion, but I think we discussed as we went. Okay, we're moving to administrator updates. We received a report from Emily. I believe y'all
Yeah.
saw that. Emily's not here right now, so I really don't think we can address a lot of the stuff that's on here. Other than Emily and I had a meeting, and I can tell you a few things. Excuse me, if you have questions about the new administrator training or any of her reports, I would just address her an email and try and get all your thoughts together for one email rather than a series of emails. And the second part is the intern program. There is a public health, a Master of Public Health student who is interested in doing his internship here. He is a India-trained dentist, and Emily is working with him to pilot an oral health program that'll go out with the mobile unit August through October. It's not a program we are intending necessarily to fund or to sustain. It's just more than anything else to see what could be put out there. And we do have a lot of paraphernalia, dental paraphernalia that we can give away: toothbrushes, toothpaste, there's a couple of other things. And also, we actually procured, I think, in the neighborhood of 100 fluoride enamel applications that can be done in the mobile unit. So if people want to sign up for that until they're gone, you know, he can apply them. And, you know, it's a fairly simple program. Anybody could be trained to do it, doesn't have to be a dentist. But also later, I believe in our closed session, I would like to address the issue of interns. I think it's on the agenda there.
Yes.
Okay, anything that we would like for Callie to pass on to Emily, put in the notes that we need from Emily on the administrative report?
I don't have anything.
Okay, then moving on into our next.
I just received that, so I don't even.
Oh
The
dear,
one we were talking about?
no.
Okay.
Oh goodness, new business, more new business just came in.
Okay.
Okay. Subcommittee reports is under old business. Kathy, the community survey. What's, did you see the communications
Yeah.
from Robert on that?
Been just that it's been submitted and, they were gonna do some formatting
No, it has already, he already,
with the new formatting.
he already gave us, this is what is planned here, is the letter,
Okay, I saw the letter
That we
and that was
approved.
all approved.
and then this is the formatting.
I thought we-
Everybody remember getting that?
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought we approved it already, but I might,
Yeah, he came back to us asking a question, and the
Okay.
question was, is this what you're expecting?
okay.
And I think we need to directly communicate to him. But the other thing he did was, on the letter, he removed a bullet point. And one of the bullet points was, there's a QR code at the end of this
Yes.
survey. If you want to send a text message to the board. He removed that because he didn't know what the intent was, but I would like to make sure that there is a QR
Yeah.
code linking to a secure, way for the public to comment.
Yeah, I agree.
But other than that, I think everything looks
Did you
good.
remove that off though, so that, because it had said that multiple times throughout, that it had said, you could add a comment
Oh,
at the end?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. We had,
I
you're
don't.
supposed to
see
put
that.
a,
And there's not really
there's not a place for comments
I mean,
anymore
one on number
at the
7.
end?
No, it's not even at the end.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought we were having something at the end that, not that it was on the letter, but I thought we had something on the report.
I don't see it.
Mhm.
I'll pass this on to you.
Okay.
One other thing, on 7, Emily had asked that 7 be changed to say what additional services, not
Yes.
programs. I'll hand that to you and you can peruse that.
So, within the format. I
So,
think we should have a QR code at the end.
okay, yeah, so we need to communicate to Robert at ETC that we would like to have a QR code or a link at the end of the survey, both online and the printed survey that states that they can comment by text or by letter through that mechanism. And also, we're gonna change that word programs, what other programs, what other services. Are you reading that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a?
Nope, no more questions.
Okay. Motion?
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Okay. Motion to accept those changes by
I'll second.
Tanya and second by Kimberly. Any further discussion? All righty, moving, and all in favor? Aye. All right, it's approved, and Kathy, are you gonna
Oh,
contact Robert
I will.
or
Or
Connor?
Connor.
Either one.
I usually do both, so.
Okay. Let me see here. Next is new construction, Steve.
Well, I haven't heard from Tim, recently, but like you and I were talking, my focus has been mainly on the roof on the original part. And we'll show and tell. Here's a rubber membrane. I mean, it's flexible, once you.
I was wondering what the heck that was.
I
That's why it is. When we tore down the old Ladesville school, the part that I went to school at, because it's so old. There was a roll of that up on the roof, and I said, well, what's this? And they said, oh, it's that rubber roofing. I said, well, you want me to do it? Throw it in the dumpster. And I've made seat covers out of it for dozers, floor mats for trucks, I mean, it's tough. And Rick looked at it, Rick Parham went up there and looked at it with me, and he thinks the easiest, cheapest way to do it is just put down a rubber membrane and underlay it with foam where it'll have a little spring to it. And it should last as long as we're alive.
Good.
So I would just put it out for, like I said, now Tim has said that they can draw up plans for this. In my mind, you really don't need plans just to lay down rubber roofing. I mean, typically architects charge from 6 to 10%. So that's just more cost for us, and like I said, do a request for proposal. What they're, from my understanding, talking to staff, everybody says, oh, the roof's bad, it needs to just be completely tore off and replaced. Well, as high as labor is right now, that's gonna be a lot greater cost than laying down something like this over what you got. And some people were talking about removing the air conditioners to do all this. And that's gonna be a disruptive influence to what's going on in here. And, you know, it may be you have to shut down. So I think that'd be the best way to go, just advertise a request for a proposal and, and Rick give me a guy's name that, he uses over at Nixa. And so that's the way I would go. That'd be my recommendation.
Okay, and Emily has, she accepted our agreement by email when we all agreed to put it out for bid. And she has already put it in the Christian County Headliner. Submit a request for proposal?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
So that is out there, and probably we will have something to consider at our next meeting, if not sooner.
The reason I said it that way, a bid, you've got a plan, you've got specs, or request for proposal, you have professionals go look at it. Good example, when I was on the board at Spokane, the air conditioning units went bad, they damaged, nothing was put in right. So, and we weren't heating and air people, so we didn't know what to tell somebody to do. So we just had professionals come and look at it and tell us what we needed to do. And then we looked at all the proposals and went with the one we thought was best suited.
So, but on the new construction, there is
Haven't heard from him. I would've,
no update.
I would've thought he would've had.
Yeah, I thought he said he was, gonna give you the
And I need to talk to him anyway.
the diagrams.
Run here, run there, but, my only concern about that is him talking, the last time he met with us, talking about running the water from next to the city's building to the northeast,
Mm-hmm.
sort of where that driveway is coming in now. That's gonna be that's gonna put it really about up to finished floor for this building. Well, I don't know. And there's 2 big trees down there. I need to get with him to find out if them 2 trees go. If the trees go, I would be inclined to, that little trough they've got for drainage, I'd be inclined to take the trees out and just widen that thing out to the point where it would have whatever water come down there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you get a 9-inch rain in an hour, you know, you're gonna have damage with that. You can't, you can't plan or take care of a flood.
But right now, we're
Right
kind
now,
of.
I don't know nothing. I'll get with him, after we get finished. and
Okay,
see
now,
what he does.
as we said, though, that the first priority was to maintain the building
Yeah.
and get the roof, get the roof up to speed.
We knew we had one little problem back in there. Vicki told me it was sort of wicking down a wall.
Mm-hmm.
But that rain that we had here a while back, and I thought maybe something had stopped up the stream, but I think the drains that are up there, which I don't like that style of roof anyway, but they're sunken in the surrounding roof about that far with a cap of screen of a thing, leaf guard around it. I thought maybe they got plugged up. But I think what has happened, it was just so inundated with rain that the drains couldn't handle it, and it went to raising up, and it was wicking back through in places where normally it just run across and down.
Question though, is that membrane going to solve that
Yes.
problem? Okay,
Yeah.
well then, you know.
What it is, I mean, the roof up there in a regular rain would handle it, because it's just running across it, but when the water, I think when the water raised up, it was allowing it to more or less go up.
Okay.
And through the cracks in the, what sealant's there now. But, yeah, that stuff comes and rolls about like carpet. And you could just, and it's got an adhesive that glues the seams together, sort of like a tar patch.
Mhm.
Glue, best way I can,
Yeah.
explain it.
Well, as long as it'll fix the problem with, good fiscal responsibility rather than tearing everything off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we gotta see what the bids come in as. Everything there's quite the sticker shock today. I have just suffered that recently, so, moving on here. Tanya, do you have any update for us on the day-to-day operations?
Well, I've been looking into our mobile app,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think we need to start thinking about what we want out of the mobile app. It's currently for informational purposes only.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's something that, I'm not sure if Connor is able to update all of it, or if Alltech has to do some of it as well.
Well, that's what I was mentioning, that we would see in new
Right.
business here. Trying to remember which staff member it is, but Haley Wecker has said that she can get forms and stuff and put them on there for pre-fill
Yeah,
and appointment scheduling, things like that.
so, yeah, for me, it just didn't make a lot of sense to be directing people from our website or our Facebook page to an app that says exactly the same thing as those two areas. And so I didn't know how much more money we want to throw into this app to keep it up to date when it's being directed from those two other areas. If we did decide to make it more interactive, like scheduling appointments, that could take, up to a year to develop that, and it would cost a lot more money to do that as well. Now, that would make more sense to keep the app, to make it interactive, but that's going to be a lot more money put into it.
Boy,
And they
Kathy,
do the- yeah, and if they can do the exact same thing online.
And that would all have to be integrated. Our online and the app would have to be integrated, and that's gonna be very costly.
but if I understood, that's exactly why the app was considered, because the younger generation is so into these mobile apps, but also, so that, it already has those capabilities. It's just that we haven't tapped them.
Right.
I personally would never look at our website to be like, okay, there's an app I can download to do it. If I'm on the website, I'm gonna continue through the website to schedule something. Or I would call. That's just me personally. Like I said, I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, that, currently I'm not sure how useful it is, or, how much more money we wanna throw into it if it's just for informational purposes only.
Yeah.
And then do we
And
want to make it interactive, and if we do, that's going to be more development and a lot more money.
Well, we'll see that under new business.
Yeah,
Maybe that'll clarify it.
yeah.
So, alrighty, what else? Oh, okay. Well, we've already addressed the bids for the roof replacement, repair. The next thing I have on the agenda is the inventory and property disposal for the Church Street. I mean, that's been there forever.
Yes, we've just been beating it. When I saw that come through, I was going, oh gosh.
Well, the question gets down to, yeah, what are we gonna do with all that stuff?
We just need to act on it, whatever it is.
And tying in with this, emergency management has asked Emily if the building is available for training that like they could utilize, like CPR training and basic first aid training for the emergency management volunteers. And, you know, if it's junked up, it's not available.
Kim, is any of the stuff over there state property? I mean,
Just mosquito,
Just a mistake.
And-
mosquito stuff.
Yeah, she answered that and said
Yeah, I
they'd been
remember seeing that
returned.
email, but I didn't know if there's anything else.
Everything else expendable.
If nobody is gonna come get stuff, we may need to just put a dumpster out there and go tossing it.
Or do a silent auction.
Yeah.
Because some of the stuff is those executive chairs.
Yeah, those are nice.
There's,
They're not
Yeah.
very old.
No, they're not old, they're nice.
But if we're gonna use it, we may need those chairs
Right.
too. I mean,
Well, yeah, you could leave them over there for, you know, we're gonna be using it for something like a chair, or tables. But the first thing that needs to be done over there is fix the hole in the dang roof. That day we toured that, I mean, a buzzard could fly. I mean, it's up there at the top and it's not like that. And at one point Karen was talking about, you know, the utilities, and I thought, well, yeah, it costs quite a bit to heat this thing with a hole in the top of the wall.
what should we do?
Fix it.
we need,
I can't do it.
we need to either do something with the building or get rid of
Yes.
the building.
We've been
Just
saying
sit-
that for
Yeah.
2.5 years.
And we just
Well-
all sit and look at it and talk about it.
After we get finished, let's go over and look at the thing, and, you know, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
No, I'm just saying, do we need to put that out for bid? You know,
Probably should.
uh,
I mean, we need to get a lot of the junk out of there first, so somebody that was working on it could get to it without having to climb over stuff.
What are we gonna do with the building?
well, that was the statement, that was the question.
Right,
Can
that's
we use
what I'm
it for training? Can we use it for,
So we're just gonna let
And-
everybody else use it, and now is that our liability?
well, let me go back in history a little bit here and tell you, prior to purchasing that building, the health department had storage units all over the county. And that had some utility in that it put some things where they would be accessible in an emergency without having to come here and move everything.
Yeah.
But it also was a significant expense. The staff had to go to inventory and maintain the equipment that was stored at these facilities. When this was purchased, it became a central storage facility and it got abused. I mean, everything from plotters to printers to chairs got pushed over there when they weren't being used. So we're gonna need a storage facility. Now we could, well,
And that's handy. I would prefer to just hang on to it for right now, but we do need to do some upkeep on it and, you know, have a,
then who can we get to come and close the holes? How can we get that
I'll need
facilitated?
to look at it again, because I can't remember even what kind of material it's made out of.
Okay, all righty, good. Well then, we'll go look at that, but, you know, I'd like to be able to instruct Emily to put out a proposal to get that at least habitable.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, it's not even dried in technically.
If anybody wants to go over there and identify equipment, identify inventory that we can get rid of, I would invite them to do so right after this meeting. Okay?
But on the note of it being used, is that if it is used and there is an accident, is that
It should be covered under our liability policy, because we currently carry liability on that entire property, even though it's not being utilized. The interior's not being utilized, but the parking lot is, and every square inch of that is a liability.
right?
You know, if a tornado comes through and takes that tree and throws it over on somebody else's building, that's our problem. So, yeah, I would like to see it clarified, what our exposure is, but, you know, can we fix it? If we do, how can we use it, and how can we clean it out?
Well, and, you know, emergency management's our partners on a lot of stuff, so I don't see anything wrong with them training as long as they, you know, take care of it.
Well, we may be conducting the training, and in which case, I hate to talk revenue streams, but, you know, it does cost
Yeah.
in order to put on a CPR class. You know, emergency management could reimburse us for that.
Or, eventually, might even move environmental over there.
That's what I.
That was the
that's
original
what- That's
intent.
what I thought, is that we were looking long range of moving environmental over there.
Yeah.
And it was in our plans to eventually do a complete, because it needed to be, handicap accessible. There was a few things that needed to be done before we could even make it.
Maybe we have part of it to where environmental is, and then the other part where we can hold,
Right.
yeah,
And then still have storage.
right.
And environmental does a lot of training too.
Well, let's
New installers.
get a plan. Let's get a plan together.
And the state may, if we had a place, the state may even want to use it. Because the state puts on different training for that. Some of them college educated system. For lack of a better term.
Okay, well, we're gonna go over there afterwards. I will go, Steve, I know you'll go, and we'll get over there and we'll devise a plan. I'm going to allow us a break.